Hello everybody, my name's James, welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 32 deadline stream, and it's live. It's a Friday night deadline and it's a blank game week. Only 16 teams, only 16 teams playing in this blank game week, and many of us are on a free hit and got a similar team, but that's not everybody. Over the next 55 minutes or so, we'll try and answer as many of the FPL dilemmas as possible ahead of the 6:30 p.m. UK time deadline, and it could be a nervous wait till the finish because Arsenal's the first kick-off tonight, and who knows, we may even get some early news ahead of that deadline. Before I get into the questions, let me take you through the graphics because many of the stuff on the graphics will answer your questions. And I should give the caveat, I am on free hit. And so when someone says, what would you do on free hit? My team's on the screen. This is what I'm going with currently. Johnston in goal, Trippier, Alexander-Arnold, Alex Moreno, for me, the best defensive defender who I think may concede. That's why he's in as the punt. Saka, Salah, Gakpo, Martinelli with Salah as captain. Isak, Jesus, Watkins. The cover on the bench is Leno, Joel Linton, Gay, Anderson. I think Joel Linton is the really rogue differential who might have a very good week. I think it will go back into the front three for Newcastle. Up against Pedro Porro, yeah, he could have some fun actually. The plan, if the Arsenal team news it doesn't go to plan, and one of those three Arsenal I have isn't in the team, would be to get Martin Odegaard in for Joel Linton. And if it's Jesus who misses out, Tony in for Jesus, and I would bench Tony. I have the money in the bank to do that. That's the current plan. If obviously Saka or Martinelli is unavailable, I would just bring Odegaard straight in for one of those two. But I think Arsenal are likely to be unchanged from the draw against West Ham. Below my team, which you can see on screen, the top right, is my top 10 captaincy picks in order of preference. I think it's Salah versus take your pick from Arsenal. Many are going to be on Salah. His EO is going to be absolutely massive this week. I think Martinelli, personally, is the best choice of the Arsenal players. And to be honest, the very best choice, in my opinion, other than Arsenal and Liverpool players this week, for me, is Alexander Isak. But you all know I have a negative bias against the shit I watch at Tottenham every week. To the left of me, you'll see the correct score predictions for all 8 games this week. Yes, I'm predicting 3-0 wins for Arsenal, Liverpool and Newcastle. I can't split them. Right at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the next 5 fixtures for all teams. Blue fixtures indicate double game week fixtures. And above that, right here, you'll see the benching dilemmas screen, which has been taken off screen, has now been put back on screen. Where there's 2 players together, the player with the tick is the preferred choice to start out of those 2, and they run in order from best to worst. I would go Tony over Solanke, Solanke over Maddison, Maddison over Bowen, Bowen over Buendia onto page 2, Buendia over Pereira, Pereira over Eze, Eze over Iheanacho, Iheanacho over Billing. Page 3, Billing over Elise, Elise over Rodrigo, Rodrigo over Edward, Edward over Alex Moreno, Moreno over Cher, Cher over Mings, Mings over Henry, Henry over Ream. And for the goalkeepers, Pope over Johnston, Johnston over Leno, Leno over Martinez, Martinez over Raya. That will continue to rotate for you during the course of the stream. I can see there's nearly 400 of you watching live. Nice to see you. And let's say about 5% of you have smashed the like so far. It doesn't cost anything. Smash the like, gets the Planet FPL word out there. It's very much appreciated. Let's get into your cues. Hasselbank, his win is first. He's planning a -4. Who should I bring in for De Gea and Haaland? Also, thoughts on Poch, the Spurs legend, to Chelsea. If he goes to Chelsea, goes to Chelsea. I don't blame him. If he goes there, he goes there. He'd be a good appointment for Chelsea with the amount of young players there. I'd almost wish him well, despite the dislike for Chelsea. Because I don't actually want him to come back to Tottenham. The moment where I was like, oh, I don't want him to go anywhere else, has kind of gone for me, because I don't think he's the right choice for Tottenham. He would, in my opinion, be a better choice for Chelsea right now than Tottenham. So if he goes there, he's got my blessing. Good luck to him. What's he meant to do? Wait for Tottenham forever? No, take the job, mate. His family's in London still. I keep saying it. He wants to come back here. Chelsea are not Tottenham's biggest rivals. I don't have a problem with it. We keep taking managers from them, don't we? They're cast off, so I can take one of ours for a change. De Gea and Haaland, -4 out. I mean, what you're doing in future game weeks, mate? You need to bench boost in 34. I'm going to work on the assumption the answer to that is no. Do you really want to remove those players? Rough. I'm going to say Leno and Jesus for now, but make sure you can get back to Haaland, for God's sakes. Bad Company says, hi James, play Ings or transfer out for Iheanacho, Isak or Solanke. Playing wildcard in 34. Please try and be more positive on Spurs before answering. Can't. Good luck. Iheanacho would be far higher up on the bench in dilemmas if I thought he was going to start. And I do think he'll start. Oh, my missus just messaged me. She goes, 2 good back people with £15. Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you want to come and talk to me? Might be easier. Fuck's sake. Yeah, do it. Come on, we're live. It depends how many Liverpool players you got?
Salah.
Josh Salah.
Yes.
Right, Trent and Robertson. There's your answer.
With £15?
Have you got £15?
Yes. No,
yeah.
Oh no, 14.2.
14.2.
Yeah.
No, so you can't get both of them.
Right.
Right, Trent's one. Why have you only got one Liverpool player? Right, can I tell you the 3 Liverpool I've got?
Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold, Gakpo and Salah.
Right, so I get this Alexander-Arnold.
Yes, definitely.
Now I've got 6.8 for a back person.
Yeah, but show me your team. Come here. Give me your phone, please.
I've got Raya.
Raya's fine.
Yeah. Raya for
Why
Raya.
have you got Eric fucking Dyer there?
Oh, he's a legacy thing.
Right. Now get Trent and put someone rubbish in for your legacy. Fuck me. Get Robertson in, sorry. Go Robertson with Trent and get any cheap defender to bench.
He's okay.
Happy?
What if Liverpool don't get any goals?
Well, problem.
Then I've got £5.01 for Dyer. The whatever you call it.
What? Get Eric Dyer out your head. What's wrong with you?
No, I've got too many.
Show me. Come here. Right,
Mings?
have you put Robertson in the team? Yeah, get Mings. Mings is good. Yeah. Or Alex Moreno's who I'm going for. Same team. Claret shirt, yeah? Back person.
Yeah, he doesn't score as many points.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
going Mings. Bye.
Bye, love you, bye. Closed door behind you, thanks, cheers. Right, Bad Company, sorry, mate. I knew that was going to go on forever. Play Ings or transfer out for Iheanacho, Isak or Solanke. Isak is the preference, mate. Playing wildcard in 34, please try and be more positive. Yeah, I mean, look, Isak's got Tottenham and Everton, it's fine. Miles Thompson says 2 free transfers. Would you go with Alisson and Jesus or Ramsdale and Jota wildcard next week? God, going Alisson for 1 week is boring, isn't it? Much so is Ramsdale, so what difference does it make? Alisson and Jesus, mate. Work says Eze, Solanke or Tony. Tony gets the nod from me on that, mate. James98 says, hi, mate. Thanks for the work you've done this year. So it's only April, mate. Cheers, though. So far, been really helpful and insightful. Good luck, everyone, on free hit. Thank you, mate. We now got about 25% of you who smashed the like. Come on, people. Chris Wood says, James, Kane for FPL this week and Spurs next season. Discuss. Look, Harry's Harry, right? Tottenham could lose 9-1 and he'll get you 6 points, right? Every chance. So I'm not. Anybody who wants to go Kane this week, I'm not going to tell them not to, right? I'm never going to sit here and go, well, Harry Kane's a bad option. I'm not. And I think if it was really short of striker options this week, then I'd say, yeah, fine, great. But I don't think he's up there as great choice for free hits, personally. I think there's better options, and you can spread your... If you don't have Kane in your free hit, you can have anyone you want. Kane, you start going, oh, I've got to cut a little bit here and stuff like that. Next season, depends what shit we do with the managers, right? What we're going to do, I don't know. My opinion is Tottenham might be better off having a complete reset and binning. Not binning, but you know what I mean, selling. And just starting again. That's my opinion. Do I want Tottenham to sell Harry Kane? No. I've covered this a lot, my friend. Stevie J10 says, hi, James. Thanks for the excellent work, as always. 2 choices left on free hit. 1, start Maddison or Tony. Tony, you can use the bench in dilemmas as reference for that. And 2, start Moreno or Zuma. Definitely Moreno for me. Also, what do you think of Son this week? Good luck. one away goal all season in the Premier League, and that was the 4th goal in a 4-0 win at Crystal Palace. These high-intensity games don't tend to go well for him, mate. That's my opinion. James, I'd definitely go Kane over Son this week. That'd be unquestionable for me. James Clark says, hi, James, on free hit, Jesus or go for 3 Arsenal mids? So I was pretty set on going the 3 Arsenal mids, actually. And it was when last night I was doing the selections for the captaincy for this stream, actually. And I had Jesus over Odegaard, and I was like, so why have I got Odegaard in my team over Jesus? And when I thought about it like that, I was like, what if you had to captain one, James? It's Jesus. So why am I not going Jesus? So it's very, very close. Essentially, that's my final decision, is Jesus over Odegaard. That's the way I've gone. Michael Lewis says, going to have some fun and put Eze and Elise on my free hit. Last piece of the puzzle, Saka and VVD or Gakpo and White. Thanks, James. I wouldn't want to go without Saka, personally, would be my take. He responds very well to setbacks. He had one last week. I wouldn't be surprised if he performs well tonight. Well, in fact, no. I expect him to perform well. It's just whether the returns come with it. George says, hello, James. Who do you think is the best seventh attacker between Isak, Solanke and Maddison? It's Isak for me, mate. I've been very consistent on that all week. Ben Edinson says, happy Friday, mate. With the fixture swing and additional fixtures, thoughts on going Martinelli to Mitoma next week? Or is Martinelli too informed to go without right now? I think it's perfectly reasonable, mate. You're going to gamble against Arsenal when they've got City and Newcastle away 2 of their next 3. And listen, as much as we take the piss out of Chelsea this year and stuff, Arsenal won't smash Chelsea. I'm sure they'll probably beat Chelsea. They won't smash them. They don't get smashed. So yeah, you can go against it. I won't have any Arsenal in Gameweek 33. That's part of the reason for free hitting now, right? I haven't got any of them. Who's next? JP says, hi, mate. Struggling to pick between Gakpo and Jota. Pros, cons with Firmino injured and Klopp hinting Nunes benching. I don't think the Firmino injury actually changes much because no one thought Firmino was going to start anyway, right? So it's more a case of could Nunes, well, not could, yes they can. Could Nunes or Jota play instead of Gakpo through the middle? And the answer is yes, right? We're not sitting here saying Gakpo's a certainty to start, right? But I'd come to the conclusion after Monday night that it was very much Jota versus Nunes left, Gakpo versus Firmino central, Salah right, Diaz isn't ready to start yet. That was my take for this week in particular. So for me, then, having watched the game, Gakpo was the one from Monday's podcast of watching the game, went right up in my thinking, and I think everybody else is actually as well. So I think Liverpool's front three will be the same as Monday night. So it's Gakpo for me over Jota. I think as well, in that case, let's say they're struggling, who did they change first with Firmino no out? I think Jota's the one that'd lose before Gakpo now at this stage for me. And it's interesting narratives around recency bias because I do a piece for advanced tier patrons called Twitter Stories where we highlight all the stupid tweets that people tweet during a football match. And the first 20 minutes of Leeds-Liverpool was littered with people moaning about how shit Jota was. And by the end of the game, he scored twice and everyone wanted him. So which one is it? Personally, I've gone Gakpo over Jota, so I can only advise the same. That was much clearer for me in my thinking than Odegaard versus Jesus, for example. Ali Bismo says, hi James, opinion on Cher as third defender to go with Trent and Trips on free hit. Already on triple Arsenal attack with Salah and Gakpo. The one thing I like least about my free hit team is that there's only 2 Newcastle players in there. That's what I like the least. If I thought Isak and Wilson were both going to play together, I wouldn't have Watkins. I wouldn't have gone Jesus and I'd have gone Odegaard in midfield and gone Pats Robertson at the back or something. It's the thing I like least. If I hadn't gone Moreno, Cher would have been my choice. So I think very reasonable this week, actually, yeah. And you could make a case that I've predicted clean sheet for Newcastle and not for Villa, and yet I've gone Moreno. Moreno is an eye test, upside, want to go for it, could really haul. 1 week, that's my take. But Cher is perfectly reasonable, mate. Ali Bismo says, hi James, opinion, that's what I've just done. Aaron says, hello, can you say all potential captain options to Harry and see which one he doesn't laugh at so we know who to captain? Mate, those who know me know that wasn't a setup and we can't set Harry up anyway. He was sitting opposite me. You probably noticed if you watched it on YouTube. I had to do the podcast with Dan and Mark in the Lim room so I could keep an eye on him while I was doing it. because we'd booked the podcast in, couldn't change the time, and the missus had booked a night out, and in fairness, she'd had it in the diary for a while. So I didn't even argue. I just said, right, let's go with this. And he sat there like a good boy. I gave him the iPad and I told him, you can't move. You have to stay under the blanket, sitting there on the chair in the blanket. And he didn't move. He had the iPad. 15 minutes in, he hasn't made a squeak. And I'm thinking, we've got away with this. And then I asked Dan about Trent. And at that exact moment, he bursts out laughing. I have clipped it on Twitter as well. It's worth a little look. It is funny. Literally, to the millisecond, absolutely perfect timing. But no, I'm not going to ask him. But we know he thought the idea of Trent captaincy was quite funny. JP says, do you think Spurs play a back 4 or 5? What is your predicted Spurs 11? Could it benefit Newcastle? So Longley is so according to Christian Stellini, and I guess it's down to if he trains tomorrow with the team, he'll play. If he doesn't, he won't. I think if he's unavailable, he'll just play Tanganga in the back 3, and he'll go the same. Me personally, I'd pick the same team that lost to Bournemouth, and I think he would as well, but I'd set it up very differently. I'd play Longley at left back, I'd play Porro at right back who can advance. Longley doesn't move. Perisic shifts and holds the touchline on the left-hand side. We go very defensive that side. We get Porro up the right, Kulusevski into the 10 position. I'd play Kane deeper, and I wouldn't play Son on the left because Perisic is playing as the left-sided midfielder, and I'd play Son right through the middle and ask him to do what Watkins did last week, and just every time we get it into Kane and Kulusevski, you go, boy. He'd enjoy it as well. I don't think I'll do that. Villa showed a blueprint. It's worth saying, really key for Newcastle last week. No Longstaff was a really big miss for them. But through Buendia and Ramsey, they pulled Grimeras all over the place. They made the game so difficult for him off the ball. And they played through the press really well. Tottenham also don't have the ability to play through the press as well as Villa did. Like Douglas Luiz was outstanding, and Dendoncker played really well as well. But yeah, I think Tottenham should use the Villa template, just flip it to the other side where you've got Porro bombing on the right rather than Moreno bombing from the left, and have Perisic hold the touchline, and that allows you to move and shift the system back into a back 5 if you want to off the ball, which Villa also did with Ramsey on occasion dropping in actually into basically a left back position. They stay very narrow and compact off the ball, Villa. They're very well coached, that's clear. So there's a blueprint. I just don't think Tottenham are capable of copying it or executing it. But yeah, that's what I would want to be doing with the team this week. The answer to your question is I think it'll be a back 5. And I think it'll be the same 11. And if Longley's not fit, I just think Tanganga will play. And by the way, if Longley wasn't fit, I would do the same thing. I'd just play Tanganga at left back. JP says, what do you think of Saka? Is he more likely to blank or return? Return. Start Bowen, Eze or Isak? Isak. FC Paul says, have you considered any Fulham assets? I like Harry Wilson for a punt. Yeah, I do actually. And I think Harry Wilson would be my pick if I was going for one as well. Yep, absolutely. Give them some thought. I've given everyone some thought, right? So I think Wilson stand out for Fulham, probably Maddison from Leicester, Bowen from West Ham. I think Sudge is going with Jared Bowen, by the way, but he's in a good mood after last night, so I wouldn't listen to that too much. But yeah, I very much considered Harry Wilson as well. Couldn't really. I don't know which one of that front 7 I would pick Harry Wilson over. I wouldn't. Reality. I did consider him for first sub even, but I just prefer the upside of Joel Linton if it comes. It probably won't matter, right? Sheila says, Kanate or Zuma as possible Zinchenko replacement. Plan to free hit 37. Then Kanate for me is absolutely perfect for that, Sheila. That would be straightforward for me. LP says, hi James, free hit in Solanke and an Arsenal defender, or Jesus a non-Arsenal Liverpool alternative defender. Cheers. Well, can only answer what I've done. It's Jesus and Moreno, right? Frodo says, I'm thinking of getting Son in on free hit. Fun pick or bonkers? It's not bonkers, right? You know his capability, right? As much as I wish shit. No, his capability is absolutely there. So is it bonkers? No. Do I think it's probably a choice because you can afford to do it? Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be my pick. I never thought for a moment of having Kane this week. And it wouldn't even occur to me to have Son, to be totally honest. Frode says, Abigail says, best Palace midfielder for free hitters. I think Eze. Yeah, I think Eze. What I would say is, I think Everton's system, which we don't know what they're going to do, is really important. I think Onana will come back in the team tomorrow, and I think they'll go more of a 4-5-1. And I think they might even go quite man-to-man against Palace in midfield. If they do that, the answer's probably, arguably, Elise. And that's what I think they will do. But I still think Eze out of the two is probably the right choice. Because if Everton don't do that, Eze will have so much fun in between Everton's midfield 4 and back 4. JP says Wilson versus Eze punt. Honestly, I'd have gone Wilson. James Clark says, great work, mate. Jota or Gakpo? I've gone Gakpo. Richard Benson, my friend Benno, hope you're well, mate. Benno, how much the ticket's going to be for all in, mate? Let me know. Hi, James says, no free hit for me this week. Solanke and Odegaard or Watkins and Pereira on a -4. I prefer the former, but I'm terrified of going without Watkins. He's been killing me. Well, look, obviously can't see the rest of your team, Benno. Do you want to captain Haaland 33? I guess is the real key question against Arsenal. Are you comfortable with that? That will be what most people do, I think. Watkins, because of the tough fixtures, 33, does look the best alternative. So, I think I would go Watkins and Pereira on that, pal, I think. Yeah, it gives you an extra doubler in Pereira and 34 as well if you need it. And then you're looking at moving Watkins probably onto a forward in 34 or benching it. But what a great substitute to have. He's got Manchester United away in 34. I'd go to Watkins route, as much as that won't give you a full complement of Arsenal. I think that's probably the right play, not just for this week, but what's to come in the next few weeks. Luke Stevenson says, hi James, which of the following pairs do you prefer for me this week? White and Eze, White and Isak, White and Solanke, Moreno and Saka. The last one, mate. Miles Thompson says, bringing in Jota Jesus this week. Would you sell Kane or Haaland? I'd sell Kane, yeah. But obviously not if you're going to be short of a player. Wildcard next week, so would bring Haaland back. Oh, okay. And I don't want to lose the value for 1 week, but I don't want to lose Kane this week. To be honest with you, how important's that value to you? You've kept him all the way through, right? What difference? The real answer to that question, Miles, is what difference does it make to your future planning if you eat up that 0.5 or 0.6 or whatever it is? You know, it's not even that much. It's going to be a couple of pips. I think in that, I just sell Haaland, mate. Makes far more sense, really. The keeping Kane for this week, despite what I've said, is better than the no player, isn't it? And the extra 0.2 or so. Now, I'd sell Haaland in that case, mate. Michael English says, hi, mate. Do you think Darwin starts? My instinct would be no. I don't pick the team. I think it will be the same front three as Monday. I know Klopp said there will be changes. I think they might be more in the central midfield area. Daniel Evans says, best defender after Alexander-Arnold and Trippier. Gabriel, probably. I'd love to tell you Kieran Tierney, but the situation on Zinchenko is just not clear, is it? So I think Southampton have a set-piece problem as well, personally, because I think the goalkeeper's not dominant, and Gabriel goals tend to be kind of near-post runs and stuff. So I think Gabriel, personally, but then you're taken away from an Arsenal offensive, but I can only answer the question the way you asked it. James Brennan says, hi James, Tierney and Gakpo or Robertson and Martinelli? It have to be Robertson and Martinelli. I think Tierney will start tonight, to be clear on that, but I don't think that's worth the risk. So Robertson option, mate. Ben Keane says, what do you think of a huge punt on Calvert-Lewin? I'd be surprised if he starts, mate. And his fitness is probably on the floor. So, no. Ross Johnson says, James, been a while. Good luck, sir. Let's go. Thank you, Ross. The Woodstock one, Chris, my friend, says, no questions, James. Just a huge thank you for the graft. Thank you very much, mate. Sweet Blues says, hey, James, double Villa defence in Moreno and Martinez. Am I crazy? You are not, because I considered it. Yeah. I don't really like Johnson as a pick, because I think it's a flat 6. I'm also conscious that so many are going with him. And the reality is I think he outscores Martinez. So it's a safer play. But I just know that if they could kick that clean sheet, then Martinez is like an 8 or a 9 pointer probably. So, but then when you look at it on your face, you go, do you think Johnson gets 6 this week, James? Yep. So that's why I've gone Johnson. But it's definitely not crazy. I don't mind that at all. Ideally on a free hit, I think you would go for a Martinez or a Raya or a Leno, someone who's got more capability. If I was backing any of them for a clean sheet, I'd have picked him over Johnston. So that's why I've gone with Johnston. Adam says Jesus and Van Dijk or Tierney and Jota. Jesus and Van Dijk. It's going to have to be the Jesus option, mate, because of what just said for the previous question. FPL Andy says, afternoon, James. Do you think I'm crazy for starting Andreas and going with an Arsenal defender instead of Jesus on free hit? No, it's perfectly viable. Leeds have got a big problem with midfield runners. Look how they suffered with Gakpo the other night, who essentially becomes almost like Andreas Pereira's position. He's potentially on the pens. He might not be on the set pieces in the same way with Wilson playing. It's worth saying. But no, Pereira's perfectly reasonable. I wouldn't tell anybody don't have Pereira this week. It's absolutely fine, mate. Mad Shook says, hi James, thoughts on Maddison versus Bowen? Maddison would be the preference for me, based on home versus away, and Bowen away stats for so long. It's not even just this season, for basically all of his Premier League career. It's just away numbers are just not his home numbers. And I'm predicting Leicester score one more goal than West Ham. So, Holla Stamos, my friend, says, hello James, just wanted to say hi. No question from me this week. Team is ready. I'm waiting for late team news. Good stuff, mate. I am keeping an eye on a few things. The patrons are on lookout for any potential news in case we get it. There's nothing at the moment, and I imagine if we do, I think it probably will be last 10 minutes. What I do advise everyone is half hour to kick off. Not half hour to kick off. Half hour to deadline. Get the website open or the app or whatever. Have the transfer page ready. If you're on free hit, have your team ready, as in done, make the transfers, and know what the contingency is. You know, if you're going Jesus and for whatever reason he's not in the team, know what the contingency is. Don't panic at the last minute. Know what it is. So if you hear the news, just go, I'm doing it. Like I said, for me, it would be, I'd go Odegaard in for Joel Linton, and then Jesus to Tony, and I'd bench Tony. So know what your alternative plan is the best advice I can give you in the next half hour for those on a free hit. Get your transfer page open, because it is likely to be busy late. It really is. Who's next? John Souza says 4 players off the template. Free hits still worth activating for only 4 players. Probably not. Consider taking a couple of hits, mate. My homie says, great pods this week. On free hit, I'm tempted with Ayew punt. I love that. I love that. I don't even hate it, actually. I don't hate it. He feels like the sort of player who'd be like, right in front of my face, Jordan Ayew at home to Everton. Yep, top scorer of the week. I don't hate it. In all honesty, I would rather Eze and Elise over him, but I don't hate it, which is mad. I can't believe it. The industrial, as McTavius would say, the industrial Jordan Ayew. Owen Armo says, as a differential mid other than the Liverpool and Arsenal boys, who would you go for? Joel Linton. Stop laughing. John Alistair Castle says, still have wildcard but no free hit. Have 11 players this week, so no drama. Should I be hitting wildcard next week or week after? Well, depends how your team looks for midweek, John. I can't. Depends who's in your team, right? Did you say you got bench boost left? Still have wildcard, but no free hit. You haven't said about bench boost. I mean, if you're not bench boosting in 34, then probably just do it on 34. Would be the advice. Joel Holmes says, all right, James, feel like I want to get spicy. My goalkeeper choice, Neto or Martinez, the current options. What do you think? I'd go Martinez at the 2. Andrew Jarvis says, hello, James. Who is your surprise goalkeeper in the Premier League this week? Good luck for the game week. Surprise? Tell you what, I don't see Nick Pope in any teams. There you go. It's a very consistent asset for you. Peter says Solanke or Bowen. Solanke. Sam Routledge, my heart says Iheanacho, my head says stay well clear. Yeah, right and all. Mark B says, hit that like, everyone. Yes, hit the like, everyone. We're up to about 40%ish or so. Smash the like. Doesn't cost anything, guys. It's hugely appreciated. Mainly minimal says the GOAT is live. Michael Lou says, if you rate Pope ahead of Johnston this game week, why not get him instead and find another bench option other than Joel Linton? It's a really good question. Really good question. The main answer for that, honestly, is the contingency preparation. Is that it will make it a little bit tighter on money. That's the honest answer. And also, I think they probably are 6 points, both of them. So 6 for Pope, 6 for Johnston. So there's more money involved. It also means I've got Joel Linton as a first sub, which I prefer over an Eze or Elise, to be honest. So it's very, very close. Very, very close. And it's a perfectly reasonable question. The reason why Pope's over Johnston on the bench in dilemmas, quite honestly, is if you were sitting there with both, play Pope. I don't think Nick Pope is not the sort of goalkeeper, once you put him in, you ever think of benching, really, unless the fixture's bad. And Tottenham at home isn't. So I think there'll be 6 pointers each. possibly has a little bit of a higher ceiling this week, but also more likely to concede. The statistics would tell you that. So very, very close. And did I consider him? Yeah, as basically just mentioned. Mainly minimal says, is Watkins essential? Got Tony instead of at the moment. I don't think anyone's essential, mate. Even this week, you sat there and said to me, I don't like Mo Salah. I don't want him in my team. I'd say good luck, mate. Bozos says, mate, great input. I have put in Trent and Mo Salah for this week for a -8. I have Zinchenko and Darwin Núñez who look like they won't start. Is it worth another -4 to change Darwin for Jota? Cheers, mate. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's the sort of one, Jota could come off after 60 minutes having scored and they're winning 3-0, and Núñez comes on and gets 2 in the last half hour and they win 5-0. I don't think it's worth it. Rui Vicente, wildcard 33. Shall I sell Haaland for Jota, losing 0.5 value, or just go Mitoma to Elise Eze? Thanks and good luck, James. Great laugh from the kid while Trent punted for captaincy. Yeah, I was covered for someone else earlier. The right move there, just logically, what do you want this week? Is it Jota or is it one of the Palace players? It's probably more Jota, isn't it? So make that move. The nearer we get to the end of the season, the less this value matters, unless it's going to cut you off of a transfer further on in your planning. That's the only thing I could make a case to keep it. Otherwise, if you're getting him straight back, get him straight back. Peter says, Bowen or Tony or Solanke. Tony would be the choice for me, Peter. Immortal Technique, big ups to YFE. Ragav says, hi, James. Hope you're doing well. Jack Harrison to Saka, Odegaard for a hit. Yeah, I'm cool with that. 10-day H, £15, love. Sam Routledge, you and the missus, this is the content we're really here for, don't you know it? Mike thinks it's funny. Chris says you are so sweet. Mainly minimal. I wish my wife asked for FPL advice. Yeah, but the problem is I give her advice, and then when it goes wrong, I get it in the neck. You do this for a fucking living. Yeah, but I don't call myself an expert. Well, you fucking act like you do the amount of work you do on it. Ben Eddington says, not on free hit, want to punt Darwin in for Tony. Brentford fixtures aren't the best. Liverpool double coming up. I know many don't think he'll start with rotation. Surely he'll get minutes. Then go for it, mate. But it doesn't make logical sense at this moment. I'm going to skip the comments, but shout out to FPL Jupiter, Mike, Immortal Technique, Phil Norris. Thank you for saying Robertson's price. Notorious Nerd, CMW League. Rush Johnson says you need to get a divorce. Chris Yang, Mahomey, pounds and pence. Immortal Technique, Sweet Blows, Dire Defo scoring on Sunday, putting money on it. I hope so. Chris Yang says you should get your wife on the stream one day. Every now and then she does a podcast with me on Patreon, and we just talk bollocks. FPL Hangover podcast, finally the FPL family we all deserve. Sending love to Sam and Lee as always. Michael, back person, that's one of the patrons will know as well. I need a back person, or middle person's what she calls midfielders, isn't it? Paul Ryan says, this is the best concert I've seen in ages. Tendai, friends in higher places, Mrs. gets to jump the queue. Ring, mate. So that's not the middle finger, by the way, it's that one. Tendai says, friends in higher places. Sharp saw, that was excellent. Jay Smith, I've got Trossard in instead of Jesus. Could picture him starting and a haul in. Could haul off the bench too, I guess. Any thoughts on Trossard? Yeah, I mean, if we knew he'd start, it's a great option, and not many will have him. So yeah, certainly the temptation would be there, but I don't think he starts. FPL Jupiter says you just saved game week. Michael Crawford, hello mate. Shout out Nathaniel Chapman. Steve says we love her too. £5 and 1 pence. Michael Crawford. Hi, James Bone on Madison. Madison from the bench in Dilemmas, apparently. That I did half asleep last night. Ryan Walker says Gakpo and Moreno. Yeah, definitely that option. I'm not even going to read out the other one, mate. Jack Davidson says, surely Jota over Gakpo. What's your reasoning? I know there's minutes risk with Jota, but upside seems better. The reasoning is Jesus, Isak and Watkins. Better than any next midfielder choice. It was really close to me between Jesus and Odegaard. And the reality is it was still always Gakpo over Jota for me. If you prefer Jota, perfectly fine. It's a crapshoot. It's 1 week, right? Like sitting here and not thinking, Jota can't outscore Salah. Yeah, he can. So can Gakpo, right? Highest scoring player of this week might be Curtis Jones. He's just 1 bloody week, isn't it? So if you prefer Jota, it's perfectly fine. Matt Bryant says, brilliant. You could double the patron sub fee if you include a half-hour discussion with Wifey about her team every week. I'll hold you to that, Matt. Remember, you can support the show at www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Christian says, need more family content. Hitoka says, punt on Isak or Wilson. Isak for me, mate. I like the pink hands. Josh Jellins laughing at Dyer. Stephen Moore, hi James. White, Antonio, Castagna and Jesus on free hit. White, Antonio, Castagna and Jesus. Sorry, I just seen a message that said no Xhaka potentially for Arsenal. Source isn't known to me, but I've seen that as a potential message. And I've just said someone else has come to me and said no Xhaka as well, potentially. Okay. Well, Jorginho would play instead. Oh, does that have a penalty impact? No, Arteta said he'd go on the pitch and give Saka the ball if it came to it, didn't it? So thanks very much to those who'd messaged me on that news. Really, really appreciate it. So it sounds like, and it's only been word of mouth at the moment, sounds like possibly no Granit Xhaka for Arsenal tonight. Yeah, I'm not bothered about the differential team for that. He's in it, but that's a minor. I don't know what else different to do with that. Would I put Jorginho in that? No, I wouldn't. FPL El Hadri. Good day, James. Keep up the great work with all the content. I like Perisic stats over the last few games. Too crazy of a punt to go Perisic over Trippier on free hit. I wouldn't go over Trips. Look, Perisic and Porro are capable of the offensive stuff. But my opinion would be you are absolutely relying on that. I think Tottenham's chance of a clean sheet this weekend are about as good as Nottingham Forest and Southampton's. Let me put it that way. But yeah, look, Porro and Perisic potentially getting very high. Whether they will do on Sunday. Consider the teams we've played. So you're looking at recent stats and look at Tottenham's games over the last 5 or so and ask you, who have we played? We played all the teams near the bottom of the league, really, right? Now we're playing Newcastle away. Consider that. Addy Tour says you have to become a patron to get more family content. Link for Patreon in the bio. Yeah, that's right, mate. Neil Grover, my Bournemouth correspondent. Congratulations for last week, mate. Says the lack of Solanke disturbs me. Up the cherries. Good luck, mate. 1 home goal all season. J Lord Broski says, hey bro, hope you're well. Seems like everyone thinks we will batter you, but I just don't see it. Yeah, I'm always pessimistic about Toon, but you always seem to have our number at St James's Park. I'm going but nervous. And how many games have Tottenham played at St James's Park against Eddie Howe's Newcastle? 0. So we're judging that over, yes, historical decent record at Newcastle, but with respect, when you've been shit for 10 years, right? Chris says, Tony or Andreas? Tony for me, mate. Sweet Blues. For a different format with no free hit, similar score, and play me or Share. Can only say Share, to be honest, mate. Barry Allen says, thanks for all the good work. On free hit, same free Arsenal, Liverpool taking a punt on free Leicester. Let's have some fun before wildcard in 34. Good luck. And to you too, Barry. Salah the Samurai says, hi, obviously Elise, but would you consider Jacob Ramsey as a 1 week punt on a free hit? Yeah, not too bad at all, actually. Don't hate that. Francis Logan says, thoughts on Son? I've done that and I'm really bored of it. Sorry, Francis, if you joined in late. But I covered it earlier on. Dixie says, hi, James. Is Haaland ruining the game? What do you think of introducing the cap on a maximum 3 times you can captain a player? Cheers. Too much work for the general person who just wants to look at their team on a Friday and pick it and get on with it, unfortunately. So it's a no-go, really. Aram says, I don't think it's impossible to implement where you couldn't have the same captain 2 weeks in a row. But even still, I just think for the general masses, that's hard work. You're stopping them from doing the things that they want to do. We're not the target audience. It's the 4 million players that actually play the games and the 8 million robot teams. Aaron says, do you prefer Isak over Solanke just because he plays for a better team or because Spurs are so bad or Solanke overrated? The first two. I don't think Solanke's overrated. I like Solanke. And I know a number of people going with him this week, and it's a great enabler from a financial perspective as well. He's certainly the best kind of sub 6 million forward, probably in the game at the moment, actually. Unless Iheanacho can get himself in the team for Leicester. So, no, it's perfectly reasonable. But, yeah, Isak over Solanke because he plays for a better team and because Spurs are bad. West Ham don't get battered. West Ham don't get battered anywhere they go. Mr. Dyer says, hi, James. Which one of these 2 Arsenal defenders is best, Gabriel or Ben White? For me, 1 week, Gabriel. Nord Bain says Gakpo or Trent. Trent, mate. Matt Gower says, hi James, great work as always. Curious on Moreno choice in regards to your score prediction with 2 Palace defenders on your bench. Why does Moreno get the nod over the others? Because I think an attacking return will equal more than the 6 that Anderson or Gay get. Jonathan Boland says, in fairness though, James, I'm a Liverpool fan, and that first half an hour Jota looked like a competition winner, gave the ball away 15 times in 30 minutes. I'm not disagreeing, mate, but that's what I'm saying. It was like he went from, oh my God, he's shit, to he's brilliant in the same game. If he hadn't scored twice, people would have just had the conclusion he was shit. Matthew Hall says, sorry if you've already discussed it, but could you briefly discuss Isak versus Solanke and why you prefer Isak? I think I've done that, Matthew, but thank you, mate. Oliver Morgan, am I mad to include Iheanacho as a differential for my free hit team, despite taking him out of my team last week? Look, I think he'll start, but we don't really have anything to base that on. We don't, other than the end of the game last week. We don't really have anything to base it on. We can't even be sure what system Dean Smith plays tomorrow. And that's why largely I've just gone without Leicester. Aram says, do you prefer Isak over Solanke? I've done that, mate. Lucas says, is a -4 worth it for Trent? Solanke will be coming in for Tony if it is. Timing's probably good. Solanke in for Tony as part of it. I'm going to say yes. Yes, because you'll stick with Trent for the season. Ebuka says, why are you low on Palace mids considering Everton are missing midfielders? Because it's covered with Arsenal and Liverpool players, mate. Sorry. And actually, I think, as I said earlier in the stream, I think Onana will come back for Everton tomorrow. And I think it'll potentially make a difference. Birth Media says, Buendia, Willian or Ben Rama? I think Buendia for me, I think, from that. Tim Lum says, isn't all in tickets supposed to be 30 to 200 or something? Thinking of going myself, maybe try for a lower tier spot. Yeah, I'd be interested if it's cheap enough, right? It's down the road. It's not far from me, right? But I know I could end up buying a ticket, and if Tottenham were a 4:30 that day, then I'm probably not going. James Gibson says, start Isak or Maddison. Pope, start Isak. Pope or Johnston. Pope. Zuma or Castagno. Benno says, cheers, James. 30 quid cheap seats for AEW all in. They're trying to fill the place, and they might do it. We'll have a live podcast on the day. Might pick your brains on that. Mate, I've told you, mate. Get me on. I can't talk like you guys because I don't watch it all the time. But yeah, I'm interested, mate. Aram says, do you prefer Isak over Solanke just because he plays for a better team or because... Aram, listen, mate, if I see you... Yeah, I can see you're there again, loads. It's not personal, mate. My DMs are open on Twitter. But the reason why you never get a question answered again is because you're a repeat offender and you're denying other people, mate. And I've just ended up losing my place in the chat just because of it. Hey, James Brennan. Hi, James. If you've answered this before, just ignore it. Sorry, might have missed being listening at work. Gakpo and Tierney or Martinelli, Robbo, mate. Lee Thompson. Hi, James. Jacob Ramsey. Good pick this week. Want to play him, but I have to bench Isak. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that, mate. But Ramsey is a decent option. Aishwara says, would you like to have a close title race? No, I want Man City to win it by about... As long as Man City win it, that Cowder win it. Alex Trembath says, Porro Perisic not decent upside punts for free hit teams. Seeing a lot going for defenders with low ceilings. Porro Perisic are basically wingers and have 5 returns between them in the last 5 games. That's why I went for Moreno, mate. Could have had about 5 assists against Newcastle last week. Luke Curtis says, evening James, Sky question. Currently 1,251st with 14 transfers left. How many transfers do you think I should be using per game week now? Obviously you don't know my team. It's not so much about per week, it's about key points. And one of the things that's really changed, obviously, from Wednesday's Sky Pod is that Man City Leeds game's now on a Saturday. So it makes the movement from Liverpool to Man City a little bit more awkward, depending on how many Liverpool you're going with. There are trigger points. The extra midweek fixtures are your trigger points for extra fixtures, right? A little bit like this week with teams not playing, selling Arsenal tomorrow or Sunday, for example. So it's not about the per week, it's about the when. I need to relook at it. I haven't had the time properly, and I will look at a Sky plan tonight. But it's worth saying, the way the 37 fixture has now been announced, Manchester City are going to have a 3-for-1 at the end of the season over nearly everybody. Not nearly everybody, but the teams that don't have the double in 37, let's say, which they're obviously one, because they're going to play on the Sunday. So you want something held back. And that's the last point for transfers, really. Manchester City players on that final Sunday. Whatever you've got left, use it and get it spent on Man City. Danny Butcher says, rumour circulating, Salah is injured. Only joking. Good luck, everyone. You're so funny. George Rickwood says, Captain Isak or Bowen? You know the answer. JHSUFC says, hi James, having both Salah and Martinelli on free hit, is it worth going against Salah on the captaincy of Martinelli? Also, would you have Elise as a top punt last midfielder slot? That, as I said, Joel Linton for me. I know I wouldn't go against Salah on the captaincy. You're gonna end up owning him on a free hit and not wanting him to do well because his ownership's going to be so massive. It's the take. But yeah, of course you can go against it, and you can use it to, the fact that you own him protects against any haul a little bit. Aninda Das says, hi James, I'm close to template free hit draft except Martinelli, Eze and Tony. Plus I don't have any goalkeeper. I mean, get a goalkeeper, mate. The team looks really good, so should just take a -4 for a goalkeeper or free hit. I mean, don't take a free hit for a goalkeeper, mate. Yeah, -4. If it gets you something that gets you an extra fixture now and an extra fixture in 34, I think that's perfectly reasonable. So the main two to shout out would be Alisson and Leno, really. Luke Curtis is Ings or Iheanacho. Dave Perrin says Dyer or Davis. Don't think Davis is going to play, Dave. Sorry, I've missed Simon Allen. Hi James, love your streams. I've got 2 free transfers. Really struggling to decide between bringing in either Trent and Eze or Robertson and Gakpo. Funds restricted. I'm wildcard next week, ready for 34. In that case, I would go Robertson and Gakpo on that, mate. Would be my take. Alex Trembar says the no Xhaka rumour is growing. As said, I've got a lot of patrons looking for various things. There's nothing additional on top of that news that's come through, and I can't even verify it's definitely correct, but I know it's not going to affect anyone for FPL. Ashley Middleton says, hello, can you help me with my mini league? I'm on a free hit, Gakpo and Solanke, or Bowen and Jota. The Gakpo option. Thank you very much, Suzanne, for your kind words on Slack. Appreciated. Alex Cronin says, hi James, would you take -4 to do Raya to Jose Sarr this week? Not on free hit. If locking in for the rest of the season, think Brentford defence on the beach. It doesn't seem to affect Raya. 5 points at Wolves last week. At Wolves themselves last week. So he was 1 point behind Sarr, wasn't he? Okay, I think we might have some Arsenal information potentially. The word is team as expected. Zinchenko is back. That seems to be what's coming through. That's what a few people are saying. So not verified as yet, but that seems to be the word that Arsenal is as expected. So it sounds like probably 2 changes, which would be Zinchenko in for Tierney, I assume. And I would guess Jorginho. Actually, no, it might be Vieira, mightn't it? It would be Jorginho or Vieira in for... I think it'd be Vieira, actually, wouldn't it? It'd be Vieira for Xhaka, probably. That's a potential punt one for the differentials, isn't it? No, I wouldn't recommend Fabio Vieira. I couldn't, for free hitters, I couldn't pick him over Odegaard. That's what it sounds like anyway. So it sounds like no major drama. So I'd begin to be getting yourselves locked in, guys. That sounds like the situation. I think we're good to go, basically. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. The patrons who sent me messages, Gary, Chris, Rob, etc. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Apparently confirmed Jesus starting seems to be the word as well. Okay, cool. But it sounds like it's going to be as expected, so there's no shocks, is there? Right, who's next? We did Alan J. Smith. Thanks for the advice, but you only live once. Going Trossard. Good luck, mate, but it sounds like he's not starting, mate. Mahomi says, James, I'm locked in on IU. Hopefully bangs a couple. Good luck. Khalid says, hi, James. Start Castagna or Alex Moreno. I've gone Alex Moreno. Jack Toner, my Burnley correspondent. Welcome back, mate. This is all right, mate. Kane captain, mate. Yeah. Might as well captain Ashley Barnes this week. At least I'll get the vice captaincy. Okay, thanks for that, Rasmus. Apparently, Andy's saying on his stream that he's been told Xhaka is available. Doesn't make a lot of difference for FPL, but that seems to be the word. So forget if anybody suddenly thought Vieira's a wild punt. I probably wouldn't do that. So I think Andy's saying on his stream he's been told Jesus starts, Xhaka starts, and and the rest is, and Zinchenko's back and the rest is expected. That seems to be the info he's got. I suspected Andy would have something on Arsenal tonight. Shobit says, that's why he's the king of YouTube. Who to sell for Salah out of March, Mitoma and Grealish? What do you want to do with them afterwards, mate? The one that you've got the least value in, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't... Arguably none of them. Jesus Christ. March. Fucking hell. Shobit says, hey James, should I start Zinchenko or Botman? Already took a -8 for Trent and Salah. Don't want to mess anything else up. It sounds like the word is Zinchenko is available. I've not got it as 100% starting, but if Zinchenko, the word is Zinchenko's back, so I assume he starts. Mickey Mole, Zuma or Gay just for game week 32 and 34. Gay. Az says double Newcastle Crystal Palace defence. I'd arguably prefer Newcastle. Mossin says beware of Boona. Yeah, we're aware of Boona. Bozos says thanks James, so that you know Cher did help me with a Patreon membership. That's good. I enjoyed her rendition of Believe by Cher. You should sing, mate. You have the voice. I sing in a band, so I know. Cheers, mate. Thanks, buddy. Welcome to Patreon. Robert Pollack says -4 to get Johnson, currently 2 non-playing goalkeepers. Fuck that. Nah, it's not got. If it was one with more of a ceiling, like a Rayo or Martinez, maybe more. And even though Johnson has every chance, I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson's in the team in a week and gets 6. Mark Child says, hi James, I'm torn between getting Van Dijk and Robertson. Who is most likely for offensive output this game? For me, still Robertson. Kartik Raja says, love your content, mate. How much would you rate this season out of 10? About 2. It's been shit. That's a Tottenham opinion on that. Atul Balaji says, James, sing us another song. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in. When the Spurs go marching in. About 4 minutes to deadline, guys. And I'm through the questions. If you've got any last minute dilemmas, stuff that I haven't covered, hit me up because we're at the end of the chat. Javo, I didn't say Trossard's not starting. Just the word was that if it's as expected, who's he coming in for? So I don't have the information on that if you've misheard that. Just saying Andy's come through and said Zinchenko, sounds like Xhaka is playing. Confirmed Jesus starting. There's no shocks. So it looks like it's going to be Xhaka, Jesus, Martinelli front three, doesn't it? Atul says cucumbers or carrots. Depends. So I mean, if you ask me on a Sunday, carrots. If you ask me in a salad, cucumber. Matthew Hall says Dyer or Davis. I mean, you've actually put Dyer as in kind of Kieran Dyer and Davis as in Sean Davis. So Sean Davis played for us but weren't great. So I'm going to have to say Kieran Dyer. Keith Allen says, hi James, interested in your plans for Zinchenko in Sky if he was out. I plan to see it through as an Arsenal cover with Martinelli. Can't afford Liverpool, even White's giving me a headache. The plan for me and Sky is he's going anyway tomorrow to Canate. Blair H says, Blades to sneak it tomorrow. McBurney Scuffer 90+4. Good luck to the Blades. We'll be able to welcome you back to the Prem very soon, I think. Ryan Quinn says, James, will you now admit that the Hammers are bigger than Spurs after our demolition of Ghent last night? Lol. Yeah, mate. Massive. Gargantuan. FPL Sponge says, good luck to you too, mate. Tim Lunn, non-FPL. Did you ask in the stream earlier about all-in ticket prices or did I mishear? No, you heard that, mate. That's because Benno from the Grapple podcast, the best wrestling pod around, was in the chat. What No Graphic says, hello, James, play Isak or Eze Isak. Kartik says, wildcard 33 or 34. If you're not bench boosting 34, I'd probably wait for 34. Stavros says, Trips versus Harry or punt on Castagne. What's going on there, mate? I mean, look, just a straight choice. Harry Kane over Trippier, but then I think there's 3 better forwards than Harry Kane, and we're short of defenders this week, so that's why Trippier's in. Castagne, reasonable, particularly as to probably play wing-backs. P. Cat says, your thoughts, definitely out. Chilwell, Rashford and Kane, definitely in. Salah, then either Alexander-Arnold, I presume, and Greenwood, or Solanke and Moreno, Gay, similar. Jesus, mate. So it's either Trent and Greenwood, or Solanke and one of the others. But do you need Greenwood to play? If you don't need Greenwood to play this week, I'd take that option. Robert says, let's hope Wood will start over Everson. Not impossible. Prasham wants Jesus news. Sounds like he's going to start, mate. And there wasn't any reason to think that wasn't going to be the case, to be totally honest. So, yeah, it sounds like probably one change for Arsenal, Zinchenko and for Tierney. That seems to be the information that we think Andy's got. Bear in mind, don't shoot the messenger for quoting Andy, because I'm not listening to Andy. I'm getting refed what Andy's saying on his stream, and it's getting passed on to me. So don't shoot the messenger. But Andy will be passing on information in good faith. When Andy came on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, he said that the two teams he most likely gets info on is Arsenal and Liverpool. So I'm absolutely not surprised if he's getting Arsenal info coming through. We were about a minute from deadline, guys. I think we're nearly there, nearly done. I'll make it about 15 seconds or so. Tim Lum says Fiorentina to beat Alkmaar in the Conference League final after AZ beat West Ham 10-0. Could be, Tim. You never know your luck. Right, I think that's deadline gone, guys. If you came just for the FPL stuff, smash a like, hit the sub button. It'll all be very, very appreciated. If anybody's got any non-FPL stuff they'd like me to cover for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm happy to do so. Gary Mantle says, Andy says, same team as last game, but Zinchenko in for Tierney. Yeah. Matt Jensen says, good luck, Blade. Shouldn't have been relegated in the first place. But they were pretty shit, mate. Bad. Remember the Villa goal line controversy was the year before. Next week, content. So, 2 Gameweek review pods next week, because we've got midweek set of fixtures. So, Monday and Friday. I don't know what we're going to do yet Tuesday. It'll be Sky Wednesday. Clash of Correspondence Thursdays. Manchester City versus West Ham with Johnny Pringle and Chris Stone. Patreon content, therefore, includes 2 differential show podcasts this week on Tuesday and Friday. Q&A will be Monday, Tottenham Wednesday, something else Thursday. It'll probably be a quiz this week in all likelihood. The podcasts are available on Patreon from intermediate tier. If you'd like to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. That's next week. The FPL deadline for the blank game week has gone. Let's get into some non-FPL stuff. Smash it in the chat now if you've got it, guys. Addy Tour says, hope Suj made the deadline. Wow, yeah. I've not spoken to him since 9 o'clock this morning, so hope so. Mike says, how do you see the top 6 finishing? Might be dependent on if Saliba's fit Wednesday night. I think the logical answer right now would be City to win it. And it's not even saying City to necessarily even beat Arsenal. It's them Arsenal going to Newcastle and having a win and things like that afterwards. That does make their position a little bit more difficult now. And I think City's toughest games are after Arsenal are the ones at the end, Brighton and Brentford. And if they're ahead by that stage, then you fancy them. If Brighton and Brentford away were coming up a bit sooner, I would say I was confident. I'm not that confident. I'd probably 60% City win it. So I think City, Arsenal, Newcastle, I think might finish 3rd. Manchester United 4th. Brighton 5th. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Liverpool 6th. And I think Tottenham and Villa will battle it out for 7th. And probably got more faith in Villa. Genuinely. Liverpool will have to do very well to get above, say, a Tottenham, but I think they're very capable. They've got great fixtures. I think Brighton will be the closest. They got some mad tough games. They've still got to play United, Arsenal, Newcastle, City, Villa. They've got to win the next 2. If they win the next 2, Forest away, Wolves at home in 33-34 before they play United, then if they win that, they really have got a great chance, I think. I have stuck money on Brighton to win the cup, by the way. I did it this morning. I've managed to find someone that give me 11-2. Birth Media says, if Poch goes to Chelsea, which player benefits the most? Oh, that's a good question. I'm tempted to say the wing backs like Chilwell and James, but they're both very good players anyway. got so many bloody players, haven't they? I think those who are young who've not settled in really yet, like Mudryk, Noni Madueke, be players like that probably would benefit the most, but it will still take a while. Mod1210 says, great stream, mate. Help make some last minute decisions. Cheers, you're very welcome. Have a good weekend. Ian from Melbourne says, thanks for the great content, James. Good luck with the game. Who's your favourite to win the Champions League? I think City will do it this time. Yeah. I don't think City will win the treble because I think Brighton will beat them in the FA Cup final. Dave M says, just jumped on. Same starting 11 as you. Different subs. So good luck this week, James. And to you, Dave. I'll be honest. I'd be pretty surprised we're going to need any of that bench, to be honest. Luke Curtis, this is a good question. Thoughts on Juventus having their points reinstated? So I've not dug into the detail yet, but I was very, very surprised when I saw that because I was expecting, if anything, that the deduction might get worse. And it does sound like, to me, that it could yet get reversed again, and the investigation is obviously still ongoing. But now it's been changed this late in the season, it might be that more likely something comes into effect next season. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's still points deductions coming for Juventus. The story is not closed. That is the certainty. Gary Robinson says, if Spurs bought Maguire in the summer for 40 million, what would the Spurs fan reaction be? That him and Dyer would probably be part of a title winning back four next year? Interesting. It sounds ridiculous, Gary, but I would have taken him in a back three. I'd have taken him in a back three. I don't think he's that bad in a back three. That he's had a moment again last night as well. Not that his goalkeeper helped him very much. Woodstock One Chris says, being nearly 50 watching football in my teens was either live or radio, really. Who is your favourite ever radio commentator from either now or in the past? Christ, I don't think I could give you names, Chris. When I was young, Dad used to listen to Capital Gold. I mean, he doesn't drive anymore. He's given up the car, but he probably was still listening to it till he got rid of the car. Capital Gold. And Capital Gold used to have the football, I think, back in the 90s. And Jonathan Pearce was the commentator. And I think he worked really well on radio, actually. So I'm going to say Jonathan Pearce. I can't really think of anyone else. It's only that period in my life, probably up to sort of 11-ish or so, that I'd ever listened to radio. Mike says, thanks, mate. You're very welcome, Mike. Addy Tor says, if Poch went to Chelsea, would he try and buy Kane? Wow. Possibly. Could Chelsea afford him? I think that's a different point now, maybe, isn't it? Atul says, there's a narrative in Wolves Twitter that we're a better team without Neves because other players take more responsibility instead of just passing it to Neves. In your opinion, is Kane's Spurs similar? No, mate. And I don't think that's true of Wolves either. There was that narrative with Tottenham for a while, that we often looked a better team when Harry didn't play, and I just think it was often coincidental because if Harry missed a game, it was often a game that wasn't against top opposition. But like our only win at Chelsea, for example, was when Kane was injured, and we actually ended up playing Lamella false 9 in the second half. It was different, right? So there was that feeling that, yeah, because we didn't have an out-and-out player, just the link play was a little bit better and stuff. But no, I won't buy into that narrative. I certainly can't buy that Wolves are a better team without Neves. I think there's times where he doesn't need to be quite so Hollywood, but then I also understand that as well. Sweet Blue says, Eric Dyer, anytime goal scorer, 15-1. Oh, yeah, get on, mate. Tiffy Ferreira, listen, no one would be happier than me if he scores. Tiffy Ferreira, can you get 150 points for your free hit? No. I think how high the average will be is probably very dependent on Mo this week, isn't it? To be honest. If that does well, it's possibly a 70 to 80, isn't it? I think, probably. But 150, not in a single game week, mate. No. Sweet Blues is 30-1. Sorry, he's not 30-1 anytime goal scorer, mate. It might be 30-1 to score first. He's not 30. If he's 30-1 to score any time, I'll have a bet. He's not 30-1, mate. Score any time. Murray Roach says, James, any chance your dad might do a pod throwback on how good Glenn Hodder was? I would not rule out the idea of me doing something with my dad on Patreon if it's something that he wanted to do, maybe one summer or something. Maybe. And if we did that, we'd certainly talk about historical Spurs stuff. Joe Singh says, hi, James. Heard you went to Legoland recently. Any favourite sets you love? Favourite sets? Do you mean like rides or sets? Makes me think of music, mate. I didn't see any music there. I was a bit underwhelmed by it, to be honest. Like, we went to Gulliver's a few months back, and I thought that was probably a bit better for Harry than Legoland, actually. Was my take. No, it was anything wrong with it. But yeah, I don't think we'd go back. I think if we was to go to one of them again, we'd go to Gulliver's rather than Legoland, I think. Tiffy says, what is the most points you've scored in a game week? Mine is 163 points in game week 36 of 21-22. I haven't got a clue. I've no idea. Not a clue. I don't know. Genuinely, I literally no idea. I don't know if it's more than that or less than that. I would have absolutely no clue. My instinct would be probably less. I've not a clue, mate. Once it's done, it's done. I don't. People always say, oh, who's your best ever FPL asset? No, I can't remember who I owned like 2 weeks ago. Bozo says, cheers, James. Take care, mate, and good luck. I meant it with the singing. Have you ever sung in a band? Leave it out, mate. McNamara's band when Spurs come out, maybe. JHS UFC says, hi, James. Hypothetical. How would you rank these 1 to 5 on who you would like to see join Spurs? Rashford, Martinelli, Saka, Grealish, and Alvarez. I mean, they're all completely unrealistic, so I don't quite know what the point of that is. You asked me to rate the players. I mean, I would, for Tottenham, from that, the first one, Saka. I'd take Saka and Martinelli in first to get them out of Arsenal, I think. I mean, the only one that's mildly realistic for Tottenham there would be Alvarez if he started to get frustrated about his minutes. That's it, isn't it? Alana McFarlane says, is Planet FPL a play on Planet, or is it just Planet FPL and I'm thinking about it too deep? I think you're thinking about it too deep, mate. Sweet Blues says 50-51, 55-1 first goal. He's not 30-1 to score any time. Listen, mate, DM me whoever's offering 30-1 on him to score any time, mate. Because I would have a bet on it. If he's 30-1 to score any time, I'll have a bet on it. I'll have a bet on it and I'll give the wife the winnings. He's not 30-1 to score any time, mate. I'm not having that. Addy Tour says, who's that with? Who's what with? Joe Singh, sets as in Lego models. We only walked past it briefly, to be honest. The Dutch bit. Sweet Blues saying Unibet. Alright, I'm going to have a look on Unibet afterwards. You don't need to tag me, mate. Mike says, who do you think is the most underrated player in the league currently? Rodrigo Bentancur. Could play for anyone in this league. There you go. There's a bit of positive Tottenham bias to end the stream on, I think. Because I think that's questions done. So we'll leave it there. And I'm off to go and have a look at Eric Dyer's price to score any time on Unibet. Tiffy says your plans for game week 33. Depends if Tony gets booked or not, mate. It's probably wrong. Ian says, has wifey remembered to select her team this game week? Oh, Ian, you need to watch the start of the stream, mate. Leave it there. So you'll be back with me on Monday for the Game Week 32 review podcast. As I said, we'll have 2 game week reviews next week, Monday and Friday. Deadline stream, of course, I should have said, on Tuesday will be an hour and a half before the first kickoff. I don't know what bloody time that is. I don't know what time the first kickoff is. I feel like that's maybe 7:30. Anyway, it'll be an hour and a half before the deadline. It'll be the deadline stream on Tuesday. And it'll be... Am I doing a deadline stream next Saturday morning? Yes, I'm doing a deadline stream next Saturday morning as well. FPL Jupiter, come to you Spurs indeed. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everyone. I hope your arrows are green. Ciao for now.